She had a dark dress, and that one is like baby blue that Bill Clinton got on. But
it's like a dark blue.
Yeah, but it's like royal blue, the color that Clinton in. But the whole thing about him in the dress sitting in that chair goes more to his sexual appetite.
Yeah, right. Feel you. Go ahead.
You know, the paintings are parodies. You know, so they say Hillary wear the pants in the house. So you know who they gonna put the dress on.
Right.
Right. Now, in that last clip, you notice they mentioned the continuity of government.
Go ahead.
And they said that the continuity of government was activated under Trump under the first administration, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, remember, Trump the only president in the history of the country that came out with the top generals of all branches of the military. In his speech, he said, "We're not here to transfer power from one political faction to another, but to return the power from Washington, D.C. back to we, the people."
Go ahead.
We, the people, is a tribal slogan that the chiefs would use when meeting each other to know we was on the same team, and that's how they exploited it.
Uh-huh.
So when they translated it into English, it come out as we the people, but we were saying it in the tribal tongue.
Go ahead.
So now they use it in their English writings to manipulate our subconscious. We remember we the people.
Right.
It's like saying we the tribes, we the clans, we the families, we the ones.
Yep.
Right? Now, at the same time, this continuity of government taking place, they allowing the deep state to make moves because they already in check.
Right.
But every move that they move, they get tighter and tighter locked in to their position to the point where they won't be able to make another move.
Right.
Right. So the deep state don't have no more moves, but the king got one more move. Right. So when we finally rescue the king, it requires the efforts of the queen. So when you're looking at the continuity of government process, they have a means of communicating. This is what I be reading. It's called spy language. It's coded spy language. But as a native wind talker, we understand code so well that we can read nature when the wind blows, when the feathers ruffle, when the leaves run through, when the birds flying, when the birds chirping, when the dogs barking. All that stuff means something to a code talker, a tribal code talker.
Right.
But it don't mean something to everybody. Right? Now we have to create a codex to translate what is it saying, and then we use that codex to mirror what the government is doing, and then the wind talker can read from nature everything they doing because of the butterfly effect.
Mm-hmm.
The butterfly effect triggers a Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when I've been telling everybody we under continuity of government, I have heard nobody else telling the people that we was going through a continuity of government transfer of power and where to find the documentation to be able to follow the pattern. Right? I haven't heard nobody else say it. Nobody even talks about continuity of government but Rod Hayes, because he half crazy. Rod the madman. Come on the internet with his hair all on his head, looking all disheveled. But he telling the people everything they need to know, but it might not be everything they understand why he's saying it. Right? So we deliver the message to the people in order for it to get out. we try to break the algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
The algorithm determines the flow of the collective conscious, and what they search for, it tells the system how deeply they entrenched in the illusion versus how deeply they see it through it. And the goal is to wake us all up, all of the ones that's supposed to be awake.
Right.
And they know by the number that's supposed to be awake in the algorithm flow, how many of the awakened ones has been activated. Because what comes next on the algorithm determines who wakes up next. Because they're going to come with a specific insight that's tailored to who they are as a person, and they've got to know themselves well enough to know that if I feel this way about it, it got to mean this is the only one thing it can mean.
Right.
And then they're able to tell people, this is how you find it, and this is how you get your receipts. And with the aid of the internet, you can access receipts at a faster pace. I'm going to give you an example. Maybe it's just wrong.
Hey, Raw, it's funny that you sprang up the internet and all that, because they keeping this on the wraps, but Africa just cut, I think it's America off today, or it's coming up here, and they setting up their own search engine and internet in Africa now.
Actually, Africa is most of the BRICS nations.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
We talked about this in the last one receipt drop we did.
Mm-hmm.
They took out 1.something billion people in Africa, and Asia has been dropped from the Google algorithm.
Yeah.
Now remember, the BRICS nations is covering in that territory.
That's right.
And that's the arising of the new systems, the gold backed systems. Now they damming the dollar back home. You get to see it by the sudden disruption of the algorithms of Google by 1.something billion people dropping off.
That's almost like one. That's like almost. That's a lot of percentage compared to 7 billion people on the planet, like 8 billion people.
Yeah. So if it's 8 billion people in a billion, that's 8% of the world's population.
2 billion.
10%. 10% of the world's population.
No, that's more than 10%.
Everybody in the world not using the internet. That's what's crazy. So you look at it again, you say out of the 8 or the number been fluctuating. So out of the 8 billion people, how many of them have internet access?
Then, yeah,
that's going to drastically reduce the number to a little over about 3 billion people in the world.
Right.
Now when you take 1 billion people off that, right, that's a major blow.
Yeah.
That's a third of the people gone now.
Yeah.
Right? Mathematically, if it was to even 3 billion, you took an even 1 billion off, that's 33.33%.
Yeah.
Look at the numbers. Murder by numbers. So we looking at all of this stuff is shifting. Now remember, we still got 3-Eye Atlas coming in, right? Which now they got another set that's coming with 3 ships. They got Harvard scientists telling us that these are alien crafts.
Yeah.
Right? Now they also having a skirmish with Venezuela. Right? For bombing a boat that they said was carrying drugs.
Ain't Harvard what Skull and Bones it?
Who?
Is it Harvard? I'm thinking about Yale. Is it Yale? That's what it is. Skull and Bones.
Yeah. So Venezuela takes us back to wrestling. I got a post on my Instagram page about a couple months ago about the rise of the Queen of the South.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Stephanie McClure in wrestling following the championship run of Rhea Ripley from Australia. Right? The symbol that you see on the post that I put up is a smiley face with a point in Australia and a point in Brazil. It's actually an airplane path. Then you got Venezuela caught up in this, and Stephanie McClure from Venezuela or Argentina, which is right next to Venezuela, and this is the rise of the Queen of the South. But there can't be a rise without the attention of the people in order to collapse the wave into the particle, to pay attention to the geography so that they can draw energy to the area to move us forward. So they use the cover of war. And you got to remember, Sun Tzu say all war, not some war. All war is based on deception, which is the ability to give you an illusion, but it's all to draw your attention to a location, right, a geographical mark. The last one we did, we had a lot of people asking me about Australia. When you put that Australian video up, it clarified a lot of that for the ones that's watching, right? To know that this is really the tribes of the earth reclaiming earth back from the tribes that ain't from the earth.
Right.
That's why their God didn't have nowhere for them to be on earth, because they didn't belong on earth.
Right.
Right? So we got the report about a week and a half ago that they only got little hot pockets of them left here and there, because they done got rid of the majority of them as off-world. We talking about the Enlil family that was concealed in caverns under the earth.
Right.
Right? Some of them wasn't involved in the stuff that was going on the earth, but the ones that was, they got a special place on earth to be dealt with by Earthborn.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. But they little minions, right? They lesser affiliates that was benefiting from their reign about to feel the wrath at the end. Right? Because they gonna save some scraps for the dogs to eat. This is for my dogs. This is for my dog. Right. Throw the coin out.
Go on that next one. Let's talk about prophecies for a second. It ties into what he was just saying.
Mm-hmm.
If you go with the Bible says that the prophet, it goes into Deuteronomy, where they say, "Oh, this prophet from God." If we can get into that. But when I went to go look up I looked up in the NBA to see is any player that never missed a shot, and it was no player that never missed a shot, and there was only one player that had 1% accuracy, and his name was Ahmed. Right, and I thought about Muhammad. Right, he only shot one shot his whole career, and he hit that one shot. He was 100%. It was only one guy. Then I looked up how many people in the NBA, the National Baseball League that never struck out. Everybody struck out. It was nobody ever went to the league that never got struck out. So, and no quarterback in the NFL is 100% accurate. So, I guess this brings to my next point, and not to add to that, Babe Ruth, the same year, I think it was 1921, where he had the most home runs in that year. 1923, I think it was. He also had the most strikeouts in that same year. You know what I'm saying? But this is my question: are all prophecies 100% accurate? Are they subject to change? Or is there some stipulate? Because I don't know nobody that's 100% accurate in life. You gonna people make Go ahead.
Okay, when you're talking about prophecies, first of all, who giving this prophecy? These not prophecies. The reason why they look so accurate is because they're not prophecies. They are plans, schematics, blueprints with markers to let you know what part of the conquest has been successfully completed. When you following the prophecies, you following the plans of the one who wrote the plan. But it's never the person they told you it was. Like they give Albert Pike the credit for Morals and Dogma. Albert Pike probably 9 out of 10 didn't even write that himself.
He wasn't that intelligent. He was satanic, but he like studying his work. Yeah, so it had to be a group, or they put that together, a whole group. I think the Scottish Rites.
It don't know if it be a group, but it tell you this. The reason why I say that is because the way you control information. Remember, everybody didn't know how to read. Less than 1% of the population of any society at any given time was able to read until modern times. Who was responsible for recording the deeds of the king? Do you remember?
It would be the scribes, right? His scribes?
Yeah, the scribes.
Right.
And at one point, only scribes knew how to read and write. And the king, of course, he had to learn how to be a scribe in order to be a king or a ruler. Right? Okay, now, if the only people was writing was the scribes, what about the peasants in the field? They weren't writing nothing?
Go ahead.
They was telling the stories around the campfires at night. And the stories carried on and became the oral tradition. So you got both sides of the story. The ones who wrote and the ones who told the story on what we call the hot gossip line. Right? And so we got the grid tales, and then you have your written story. The written story is the plan of those who's doing the writing or instructing somebody to write. That's their instruction. Now we got to figure out how to code it, right? We code it under the pretense of prophecy. But you notice the word prophet exists within the word prophecy.
Right.
Right? But not only does the word prophet exist, the word prophet exists. So now it's tied to the banking system because the prophet got to generate profits.
Go ahead.
In order for him to maintain his 501c3 status.
Skull and bones. Oh, man.
Now, look, 501c3. Phi means change Omega to Alpha. C is 3, and 3 is 3, which is 33. The master. It's all coded. It's in our face, behind our back.
Man.
You just don't know their language. It's all CIA, KGB, Mossad, all of the secret spy networks have access to it. That's why they pick up a newspaper. They don't see the same thing you see.
Right? They see the codes.
They pick up the paper that says man landed on the moon. You know what they see? It's an invasion about to take place in a rocky terrain in the Far East.
Yeah.
Right? We looking at the moon in an invasion. They looking on Earth in a whole nother direction. They still telling the story. They put it in your face because it ain't up to them to tell you what it means. It's up to you to figure it out. And if you don't teach yourself how to think, you'll never figure it out. And the ones that think they know how to think, but think the ones actually doing the thinking is insane, is the worst of them all because they are delusional. And they telling the whole rest of the people that the ones that doing the thinking don't know what they talking about and that they delusional, which is misdirection. The world is a stage. We are just actors.
Right.
If you don't see the misdirection, then you're going to be trapped in the illusion. David Copperfield didn't make the airplane disappear. He just made you think it disappeared. If he can make you think it disappeared, he don't have to make it disappear. Yeah. Because now you accepted that it disappeared, meaning that the illusion was successful because you didn't believe he could trick you and you got tricked.
Interesting.
That's how street times work. Three card money. The shuffle game, the 3 shells in the ball. All that's sleight of hand. That's all illusion. And some people always fall for the illusion. Yeah, trickery in the first degree. The 120 degrees of trick knowledge that Jacob gave them. Remember, they rule by trick knowledge.
Yeah.
Which is the knowledge of trickery and how to deceive.
Right.
They tell you that the devil is a deceiver. What is his greatest deception? He had to make you think that he the God you worshiping, and all the time you worshiping him.
Go ahead.
This is the greatest deception ever played on men. To make man think that man is less than what man truly is. Therefore, you can never reach your potential because you don't know your potential is as high as it is, so you limit how high you jump. Like fleas in a jar. Second generation won't jump. When you take the jar off, they won't jump higher than the lead.
Right. That's right.
And you keep low,
like puppies.
And you keep lowering the lid, they jump lower and lower. Boy, until you can actually fall without a lid open. That's teaching you to endure suffering. Because oppression is atmospheric. You can only be depressed to the degree in which you are strong enough to take the oppression. The strongest people been oppressed the longest because they can take it the most. And that allowed the people that's in the appearance of power go through a catharsis where they can burn off all of their negativity by abusing the ones that they think is the weak ones, and all the time they ain't weak, they the strongest ones. That's why they at the bottom, because they got to hold up the system. Right. But they only got to hold it up until they get tired of holding it up. And whenever they get tired of holding it up collectively, then they just all stand up and flip the table. Right. But most of them don't know that all of the rest of them is ready to flip the table, so somebody got to tell everybody. So maybe one of the corners, one of the legs, a 7 or something, gonna start flipping around the bottom of the board to tell y'all all you gotta do is stand up. Talking to the wind, Ezekiel's army.
This might be a little. Before I roll this next clip, a question. Yo, can you hear me, Rod? What the heck? Oh yeah, so here's my question, man. Before we go to roll that, yeah, I can hear you.
Before we finish with the conclusion to that, so
go ahead.
All our prophecies is true to the degree in which the person responsible for executing a part of the plan executes. And if somebody is missing from the equation, then the prophecy, like for instance, Charles Russell predicted the end of the world like 5 times. We still here.
Yeah.
Now, he probably would have been right if he wouldn't have told nobody, they wouldn't have adjusted for it. But when he told people, they adjusted for it, which prevented it from happening.
You're here. Hey, so maybe he was supposed to kill him.
Yeah, so the prophecy is only as accurate as the person carry out their portion of the plan that leads up to the fulfillment of that prophecy. If any one person don't carry their load, it don't be accurate. But most of the time they carry their load, so the prophecy appears to be pretty accurate. And then history repeats itself. So once you see where the gap at, you know where to plug the hole. Pick the weakness in the game, you sew it up.
Hey, now this is my next question. And this might be a little thought, but I think it ties into right now. Now I saw this concert where the rapper NBA Youngboy, man, he had to have at least 70, 100,000 young guys in there. Like everybody had ski masks on their head. And they might have got in there with the blick. Look like they all had blicks in the car if they ain't have them on them. And then while he was rapping, they all like they was gonna leave there to go smoke somebody. Now with the power that he got, then they got him hit off in Utah with a black hand got what are they like the compounds it. They call themselves the Mormons. That's their cover name, right? But what power could he if he was to change or what type of control do he got, man? Like to have that many people in there jumping around like that with the ski mask on, ready to go. Like he really dangerous for our like if he was to turn on them and say, you know what, we finna go the people that so-called enslaved our people. We know that's a bunch of crap now. But he was to turn his energy and say, you know what, they watching him like a hawk, man, because he got too many control over too many young crazy dudes, man. What you think about that, right? Before we click on this next clip.
All it is a tribal faction that's following their leader.
Okay.
Right? The leader don't want to go the conscious route because of Tupac. They don't want to end up like Tupac. So they'll spit that crazy stuff that the industry want them to spit to allow them to get the spotlight on them. But when you talk to them, you'll find out that most of them ain't crazy as they be acting.
That's right.
But sometimes you got to play the fool to catch a sucker. Right? So when you seem dumber than your mark don't feel threatened enough to have to remove you. If he was to turn around right now and start doing the same thing Tupac was doing, or KRS was doing in the 80s, right? He wouldn't last a good 6 months before he ended up like Charlie Kirk.
Some people say they out
because they told him. If you have an industry contract, they tell you that if you don't follow this contract, there's consequences.
That's right.
And the consequences may directly affect you, which means you might die, or somebody close to you in the world gonna think you sacrificed them.
Yeah.
It is sacrifice. As in the case of Kanye, he didn't sacrifice his mama like people think. They killed his mama because he was the value they was trying to exploit. And then when he tried to go and do this Kanye thing, you know how Kanye is. We all know how he is. We've been watching it. You can't go do your Kanye thing. You under this contract.
Right.
Right? I don't care about your contract. I'm finna do my Kanye thing. Right? And as soon as he decided that he was going to disregard that contract,
boom.
Bye-bye Donda. So he becomes so disgruntled, they try to shut him up. Repeals, mental health crisis is publicized to the public, handlers, right?
Right.
Gave him the appearance, the public persona of the rich nigga.
Right.
Right? So he had it all, but he ain't free.
Right.
And what he turned around and told us not too long ago, I don't want none of it if I can't be free.
Go ahead.
I'd rather be free than have all the money. That's what he said after he lost that was it Balenciaga deal? Those rules that were taking stuff. Was it Balenciaga?
He made a tweet where he said he lost. He was talking about a tweet that he got off of. I can't remember what company that was. It was a multi-billion-dollar deal. He lost it from making a tweet.
That was for the shoes.
Okay.
That's for the shoes, the Yeezys. I think it was, I forgot who Yeezy were going through. I think Reebok. Anyway, He lost those deals because he'd rather be free than be paid to shut the F up while his people are struggling.
Right.
The problem is we don't know how to read Crazy Horse energy. Because if we knew how to read Crazy Horse energy, we would know exactly where Kanye coming from and what he's trying to tell us. We supposed to learn it off Old Dirty Bastard. He was to teach us the Crazy Horse energy, how to read it. Right? It's a couple more of them, but it was the lead Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse is a frequency and it's a cover. It's a protection, a spiritual protection from the tribes. Sitting Bull is a title, right? And it literally refers to the bull who sits on his post. He's sitting down on his post. He figuring he's a bull. He can't be moved.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So all of these titles comes with encoded energies that the tribes can use. If we learn how to read Crazy Horse, it's like ODB say, shame on her for trying to run game on him. And he said, wait a minute, let me tell y'all what I'm talking about so y'all will know what it means. Then he went sober as a preacher to describe it. Yeah. And then he went back to right? Crazy Horse.
Yeah.
You gotta know when to see. Young Pharaoh went through the Crazy Horse energy phase, where he used the Crazy Horse energy to break from under the pressure of being put under the spotlight. We sat here and watched him, and we all called him crazy, except for me. I laughed. Crazy, you know exactly what he's doing. Right? Because the Crazy Horse energy is used to get information past the enemy, in the enemy face. Right? So, the example, one day he was telling the story, and they were saying he was crazy during this time. And when he telling the story, he looked back to his baby mama and say, am I lying? And she was like, nope, that happened. That's Crazy Horse bouncing it off a sane individual that was present, that's verifying that he ain't as crazy as we think he is. Mm-hmm. Because the story that he's telling actually happened, but he's telling it in an animated way that makes him sound unhinged. But the girl verified the whole story sitting right next to him. Crazy Horse energy. Once you know how to read.
Donald Trump was on there. I think it was the Virginia governor. They made a lot of arrests on child trafficking rings. They didn't bust so many. Even